Hanley Ramirez hit a no-doubt home run in the bottom of the 15th inning in Boston's 5-4 win over the Blue Jays at what ended up being after 1 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Welcome into the Boston Red Sox newsfeed postgame recap. I'm Adam Blue, somehow still wide awake, reporting for CLNS, a leading online provider of audiovisual coverage for the Boston Red Sox. Ramirez's bomb, which cleared the stadium, gave the win to Hector Velasquez, who pitched the final 4 innings in a game that started with an hour rain delay and ended after most of the West Coast games that began at 10 p.m. Mike Bolsinger was great in relief for Toronto until that bomb, as he struck out 6 batters in 3 1/3 innings, including 4 in the bottom of the 13th. On Game of Thrones night in Fenway Park, waiting for the outcome of this game took longer than the break between seasons of the insanely popular show that I've never watched. Seriously, the longer this game went, the more I wanted to be like my fellow ginger Ed Sheeran and just get killed off. At least I think that's what happened. Red Sox starter Brian Johnson tossed a quality start for Boston, which seemed like days ago, as he scattered 8 hits and 3 walks in 6 innings, while allowing just 3 runs in the top of the 5th. The Jays left 5 men on base in the first 2 innings combined, as they had runners at first and second to begin the game, and loaded the bases in the second, but remained scoreless. Chris Young homered off of Jays starter J.A. Happ in the 4th inning, which gave the Sox a 1-0 lead. It was Young's 5th homer of the season and first since June 27th, but he has started just 7 games in that span. Toronto finally broke through for a 3 spot in the 5th inning, as they knocked around Johnson for 4 hits to take a 2-run lead. Jose Bautista started by hitting an infield double, as the ball had so much spin on it that it eluded Dustin Pedroia and barely kicked into right field. Russell Martin walked, then with 1 out the Jays' offense came alive. Justin Smoke ripped a double off the wall in center field to score Joey Bats, and Kendrys Morales followed with an RBI single to right to plate Martin. Troy Tulowitzki took the first pitch he saw, a hanging off-speed pitch, and dumped it into left field to bring home Smoke with the 3rd Toronto run. Johnson battled to retire Steve Pearce and Kevin Pillar to end the inning and strand 2 more runners, which ended up being huge in the long run. Boston had a great chance to either tie the game or take the lead after a solo homer by Pedroia in the 6th, as they had 2 runners in scoring position with 1 out. Reliever Joe Biagini struck out Sandy Leon and Devin Marrero to preserve the 1-run lead. Brock Holt started the 7th with a single and moved up to second on a heady play on the bases, as he did not hesitate to take off on a pitch in the dirt from reliever Dominic Leone. A slow grounder to the right side by Mookie Betts got the Brock star 90 feet closer to home, and Pedroia knocked a double off the wall in center with 2 down to tie the game up at 3-3. In a mind-boggling play, the Jays somehow had runners on the corners with no outs in the 8th and failed to score on a ground ball to second base. Tulowitzki started the threat by reaching on an infield single and was put into motion during Pierce's at-bat. When Pedroia went to cover second base, Pierce knocked a single into the vacant hole between first and second, and Tulo advanced to third. Matt Barnes induced a grounder to Pedroia at second base from the bat of Pillar, and the laser show tagged Pierce in a rundown before flipping to Hanley Ramirez at first for the double play. Apparently Tulo was so mesmerized with the double play that he forgot to run home, especially when Petey was busy chasing Pierce. Pinch hitter Ryan Golan struck out to end the inning, which should have produced a run. The 2 teams traded runs in the 11th, because why would they want to end the game before midnight, especially on a recap that I'm doing? Pierce doubled high off the wall in center off of Brandon Workman and scored 2 batters later on a sac fly from Goings to give the Jays a 1-run lead. Toronto brought in their young closer Roberto Osuna, but the Sox got to him to tie the game again. JBJ singled to start the inning and moved to second when Leon popped a bunt over the head of Josh Donaldson, who was charging from third. Osuna struck out Marrero and Holt, but Betts found a hole to knock a single to right that easily scored Bradley Jr. Pinch runner Xander Bogaerts was cut down at third base on a strong throw by Bautista to allow the game to painfully continue into the early morning hours. Who needs sleep anyway, right? Tulowitzki screwed up on the bases in the 13th. God, he's awful. When he hit a ball to the monster and left, which bounced over the head of Benintendi. Somehow he ended up on first base and was thrown out at second after a lackluster steal attempt on a strike-him-out, throw-him-out, which killed any chance the Jays would take the lead for the 3rd time. Tulo literally cost the team 2 runs, and cost any of us fools that stood up for this whole game a couple of hours of sleep. You suck, Tulo. Lauren Campbell will pull double duty tomorrow evening, scratch that, later on today, assuming she has fully recovered from the excitement of watching her man Brian Johnson pitch tonight, and she will have your pregame news and notes and your postgame recap as well. And be sure to check out the latest edition of the Red Sox Beat podcast, now with video so you can see how animated Jess, Jared, and Lauren get when they discuss their favorite team. This has been Adam Blue for CLNS.